Eyn Yakov, and we're on Lamed Daled 34 A2 in the Auscroll. And we are looking, and I believe it's, where is it? For Houston, it's it is right. So it's right at the top of the page. Okay. It says Tanu Rabbanin. The rabbis learned in a Braita. So it says Shlosha Rovin Kasha Umiutin Yafet. 3 things are bad in excess, but fine in moderation. And these are they. So, or yeast. If you put too much in, you ruin your dough. If you put just a little in, the dough works. Melach, salt, same sort of thing. If I put salt on my in my food, too much is no good. A little is good for flavor. And lastly, sarvanut, refusal. Again, a little bit is too much is no good, and a little bit is fine. So you have, it's an interesting thing. Before that, in the Gemara, it talked about on the previous page. It gives a famous thing about, or a little bit above on that page. So it says, one who somebody asks you to be to the chazan. So what happens? At first, you should refuse. So then the guy comes to him. And the Gemara says, if you don't refuse, then he resembles cooked food without salt. And if he refuses too much, so then he resembles cooked food that has been oversalted. So what should he do? It's a famous thing. The first time, you refuse. The second time, you get ready, as it were, but you still say, no. And of course, the third time, you get up and you go. So that's a famous thing on as far as chazanut or leading the congregation is involved. So the first time you should always say no, because it's not nice. You're an arrogance, if you will, to get up right away. The only time that you should get up right away, according to halacha, is, let's say the chazan is making a mistake. And in those days it did not have books, so it was all by memory. So then if I would send you up knowing that you can take over, you should immediately go up and not say, no, none of this feigned humility. You go right up. But in today's standards, so people, again, while you can certainly say no the first time out of humility, but still, if you know you're the only one that's in the room that can do it, you don't start saying no. You just go up. If you're tired of hearing the other poor guy, I remember when I was in Bangor, I had a bit of laryngitis. You couldn't hear me, and nobody wanted to go up. I was like, people, I can hardly speak. Go already. I should have to ask you these sort of things. And it's the reason they did that was because I was a rabbi. Fine. They figured if I'm there, I must want to daven. But when I said to somebody, please help, they went right up because they understood that my voice wasn't going to take it. Okay, so that's really what it is. So that's why this Bright is saying that a little refusal, too much refusal is no good, but a little refusal is fine. So now we have an example. It says Tanu Rabbanin. The rabbis learned in a Braita, and again the Braita is not the Mishnah; it's the outside source. It's what was not generally accepted into the corpus of verified statements. A Mishnah is a verified statement. They went through it. They knew what happened. They knew everything was exactly right. When it comes to a Braita, it's not always. There are some things that are added that would not be necessary, as it were, for the Mishnah. So here we go. So here it is. So Tanu Rabbanan rabbis learned Maaseh b'Talmud. There was a story with Talmud Echad with one student. Sheyarad lifnei teva, that he went down to be the chazan. He went down that day to be the chazan. Lifnei Rabbi Elazar, and while Rabbi Elazar was here, and he took a very long time. We don't know anybody who does this, right? A very long time, whatever a very long time is.
Must have been a Shabbos or something.
Could have been a regular day. Shabbos is much shorter. But it was probably, when it says a very long time, it all depends on which shul you daven at. If I daven in a shul that's going to get me out in 20 minutes, so a long time would be 2 minutes. If I'm davening in a place that takes 40 minutes, 2 minutes is very quick. So it all depends on your perspective. But whatever it was, the Talmidim complained and said that the guy is davening too long. So Amalei, Talmidav, so he said to his students, Rabbeinu kama archan. I'm sorry, Amalei Talmidav. So he says, right. So he's saying, Rabbeinu. We have a story. We have an answer here. By the way, your standards moves. So this went to the Gemara side, on the Breita, on that side, the lower side. Okay, you have it. It starts the rabbi. The rabbi said taught in the Breita. It goes to the other side. In other words, you were at the top of the page. Now you're at the bottom of the page. Okay, because we're skipping a lot of the Gemara here. So it says right. So it says Rabbeinu kama arkan huzeh. Our teacher, what a prolonged this person is. We're talking about Moshe Rabbeinu. When it says Rabbeinu, we're talking about Moshe Rabbeinu.
Oh.
Okay, so he says, you think this guy is long? He's nothing compared to Moshe Rabbeinu. Why? So he says, Amalehem. I'm sorry. Let me do that again. So Amar lo Talmidav. I messed that up. His student said to him, Rabbeinu, Kama arkan huzeh. Rabbi, look how long this guy is taking. So Amar lehem. So Rabbi, what's his name? Eliezer. So he said to him, Klu marich yotim in Moshe Rabbeinu. Does he then prolong his prayers longer than our teacher Moshe did? Dichtive, about whom is written, Et harbeim hayom v'edarim malayla. At the instant of the Egel Azav, the golden calf. So it says in the Torah, and I threw myself before Hashem for 40 days and 40 nights. So we see that if you're going to daven long, that's long. 40 days and 40 nights. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Not a big deal. Even an hour, not a big deal. When I was at YU during Yom Kippur, during Yom Kippurim, so Rav Lipshitz Zichron Levracha, he davened Shmona Esrei. Each Shmona Esrei, I think, was close to 1 hour. I think. It was such. I remember I davened. I could go out. I could relax in the sun, and still come back and still be davening. So it was. It felt like an hour. I don't know how long it actually was because I wasn't watching the clock. And then you have 5 of those Shmona Esrei. So you have 5. If he really did it, it was extremely long. And other people were trying to catch up with him. So they were trying not to beat him, as it were, but it took a long time for everybody to daven. I didn't have such kavanah.
Is he talking about the silent Shmona Esrei or the Chazar Hashatz?
No, silent Shmona Esrei.
What?
Silent Shmona Esrei. That's what happens here when you have a person who's going slow. Okay. So again, it depends on where we are. If I'm here, slow means you took more than 5 minutes. If I'm in HOC and I do 5 minutes, I'm very fast. Because the normal Shemona Esrei is here, the rabbi is davening approximately 10 to 12 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's slow. People are saying, what's taking long? What's Rosh Yeshiva? The answer is, it's not long at all, really. Because if I go to a yeshiva, then they take 20 minutes. So it all depends on, again, it's all perspective, where I am. So but his argument is, it's not so long, fine. So then, yeah.
Why would there be 5 Shemona Esreis?
On Yom Kippur?
Oh, okay.
only on Yom Kippur you have 5. Right. Otherwise, there's 3, or on Shabbos or Yom Kippur 4. So that's number one. So it was number one complaint. That's why, by the way, people hate going in front of to daven from the Amud. That's really why we don't like to daven from the Amud, because we have to deal with, I'm going too fast, I'm going too slow, I'm doing... Because here's the next story. Shuv Eliezer. So again, we have a student who came down, and he was davening at the shul of Rabbi Eliezer. Fine, what happens? So turn the page, and it says, not to you, I'm only talking about the stand. And he abbreviated the service excessively. He was flying. He had a very little to stand of praise. He was flying, and what happens? Amrulo Talmidav. So his student said to him, "Kama Katron, who's that? What an abbreviated person this guy is. He's cutting the tefillah. We can't catch up with him." It's not. It sounds like the story of the 3 bears. The Goldilocks and the 3 bears. This bed is too hard. This bed is too soft. This one says right. Okay. So you can't satisfy people. On one hand, they're going too slow. On the other hand, the guy's going too fast. And they keep going to the rabbi. Rabbi, you got to do something about this. So what happens? Amar lahem. And Rabbi Eliezer said to them, Klum makatche yotim and Moshe Rabbeinu. Nobody abbreviated the service more than Moshe Rabbeinu. How? Because it's written in the pasuk, when Moshe was davening for Miriam, who was afflicted with saras, because she had told Lashon Hara against her brother, even though she did l'shem shamayim, no question about that, because she was thinking, she didn't understand what was happening. Hashem took it personally, as it were, and said, you can't speak about the king in that manner. And so we learn about her, even what Lashon Hara is, namely it's the truth. She said nothing wrong with it, but it was just something that should not have been said. She should have asked it in a nicer manner to say, Moshe, why did you divorce your wife? We all heard Hashem speak to us. What's going on here? If she would have said like that without getting Aaron involved, just going to her brother, I'm a sister, to help me understand what's going on, nothing would have happened. But because she got Aaron involved, and then they both went to Moshe and confronted him in a confrontational manner. So that's when Miriam gets struck with saras. Aaron goes to Moshe and says, pray on our sister's behalf. So what does he do? Kel na rafat na la. Please Hashem, please heal her. Doesn't mention her name, doesn't say please Miriam, and the whole thing. Fine. So but that is the shortest prayer in history. Kel na rafat na la. So you want to complain about this guy making a short prayer? Please, nobody's shorter than Moshe Rabbeinu. Okay. What we're learning, first lesson to learn is stop complaining to your rabbi. Leave the rabbi alone. He'll have an answer to everything at this point. So it's not a good situation. But it's also something else we learn very quickly, by the way, that if I daven long or I daven short, if I have kavanah, if I really know what I'm doing, so it's not for you to comment. On the other hand, if I'm the chazan, I have to understand that I have an audience behind me, and that I am the shaliach tzibor. I am the congregational leader. I am representative of them. So therefore, and I'm their pace horse in the race, if you will. So I have to try to maintain, a decent speed so that everybody can daven. Yes, I'll lose 1 or 2 one way and 1 or 2 the other way. But still in all, I should try to maintain it so that people aren't complaining left and right. It's not easy to be the Shaliach Tzibor. It's very difficult if you really want to be the proper Shaliach Tzibor. If you don't, then you'll run and you'll do what you want.
It seems if you should know the kahila that you're in, you should know the tzibor, what's expected at that particular place.
Correct.
You go to HOC for a while, you know what's expected there. And if you want to daven faster than the rabbi, daven faster than the rabbi, but you're not going to start until he's done.
Correct. When I was saying Kaddish and I was davening at the yeshiva, so the yeshiva davened slow. and I was Shliach Tzibor. So Rabbi Margolis davens loud, and he used to sit up in front. So I always used to wait for him, follow him. I told him many times, you are the pace horse. You set the speed. So just don't go soft on me. If you go soft, I'm going to go my own speed. I wouldn't know what anybody's doing. Because the boys were all singing along Tachanun from the beginning to the end. They put their hands down. I don't know what they're doing. But and the other Rebbeim are mumbling to themselves. He was the only one in those days who was loud. So he was right there too. But I would hear him. So I could keep pace with him.
I thought the Shliach Tzibor was always watching Rabbi Katz when he was...
Rabbi Katz now, he's not it now, but it wasn't originally him. It was because where Rabbi Katz sits, well, I don't know where he's sitting now, but where he used to sit was, no wait, he didn't change. Rabbi Margolis used to sit in the front. That's all it was. He used to sit right next to Rabbi Katz. But you would hear Rabbi Margolis. Yeah. You would hear him very clearly. So I'm saying that he was a pace horse, if to use such language. But he was a guy who I would listen to because Rabbi Katz was doing something else sometimes. But now Rabbi Katz is.
Yeah. Oh.
Very clearly. Again, when I used to go, I don't know what he's doing now. But it used to be that the kids would listen to him.
And if you're davening with a minyan where it's faster and
if you can't keep up with them, you shouldn't be leading.
Right. That's what. So I've always felt that. I should, with Kavanah in mind, of course, as Shliach Tzibor, try to daven fast so that, because I've heard people say before, never get done after the rabbi, because the people are expecting you to start when the rabbi's done.
That's not your problem. That's the rabbi's problem.
I mean, what if he's super fast?
Yeah, that's his problem. In other words, if I see somebody going slow, so it's not my job at that point, if you're really looking to me, is to just for me to slow down. What I do though is very simply, I'm not saying it out loud for the most part. I mean, once in a while I do, but I hear from Marav, Mincha Marav, because I really want the place to have a pace. But in general, I'm not that loud. So, like on Shabbos, I'll say Shema from where I am, and that's it. Rabbi Linda will say it. He's louder than me. So, it depends on who's davening. That's true. Some people will look to me, and so if they're looking to me, I listen, I just wave them on. Other people will listen to Rabbi Lindau because he's louder. So, whatever. It's up to them at that point. But really, that's what it is. I never worried about what the congregation would say, I'm too fast or I'm too slow, or the congregation. I mean, the Shliach Tzibor, I think it's foolish. Why should the Shliach Tzibor have to worry about me, and why should I have to worry about him? I'm davening to Hashem. I don't want to worry about these things. It's not worth my time. So, when it comes to that, so I either wave him on or something else.
At Rabbi Cohn's shul, they always used to wait for him. But then he slowed down, and so eventually he said, and Rabbi Schwartz was also davening there, and eventually he says, when Rabbi Schwartz is done, just go and tell us, don't wait for me.
Don't wait. Yeah, that's because it happened in Providence too. The guy wanted to daven long. Rabbi Yukovsky wants to daven long. Fine. So he put down when there's 6 people, start. Don't wait. You don't have to torture me. Because what happens is you feel the pressure. If I'm davening, I feel the pressure. Oh, who's looking at me? I have to start moving. I don't want to feel that pressure. I'm davening to God. I don't care about anything else. What am I coming to Minyan for? I just have to start. All I have to do is start Shemona Esrei with you guys. That's all I need.
So, in that case, then again, the standing order is a good idea. Start at whatever. You either get your cue off another rabbi who's faster, or turn around,
count 6, and HOC count 10. What do I care what you're counting? Give me a number, count. Yeah. You see 10 people, start up. Don't wait for me. Don't do me any favors. That when it comes to Rosh Hashanah, I used to say in Bangor, do not, under any circumstances, wait for me. Don't. I want to daven. I'm not interested in you looking at it. Announce your pages. Do what you want. Just leave me alone because I want to daven. I didn't say leave me alone, but but basically it was enough. The rest of the year I have to kill myself, but Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur I should kill myself. It's a long tefillah, But like I said, here I'm probably one of the faster ones, for the most part. Even Moshe and I are basically the same speed, so it's I'm basically one of the faster ones here. In the shul, I'm also one of the faster ones. I'm sitting down some, but you wait. It's no big deal. Okay, so now what happens here? So that's what it was. So here the Maharsha says very nicely. He says, "What's going on? You have two inyanim here. One is where Moshe Rabbeinu was quoted as going extremely slow, namely 40 days, and one was going extremely quick. Kel Narafan Allah. So what's going on here? So the Maharsha says, and the Eitz Yosef goes with this, so I'll go with the Maharsha because it's a little long with this. Explains it nicer. So it says, Lefia inin this of a gadol hachet. It goes according to the amount of time in prayer goes according, from Moshe anyway, went according to the subject and the severity of the sin. When it came to Maaseh Egel, when it came to the golden calf, when it was concerning the sin of the many, it was certain that he needed to lengthen his prayer until he was answered in his prayer. Hashem had to say, Salachna, you're forgiven. I mean, Salachti, I forgave. So, as we learned above, that anybody who lengthens his prayers, he won't turn away empty-handed. And who we learn that from? Moshe. Kama Rabbi Elazar. So then Rabbi Elazar said, "Klum mekatzim yot Moshe." No, we're sure the Moshe. Why? Dainu bechet yachid. That was dealing with the individual sin of Miriam. Shlo yakasha. It wasn't so difficult. Ve'ein sarch la'arich. So you didn't need to go at length. And he brings a proof. Mighty Kel Narafan Allah. Please God, heal her. De'afilu b'shem lo yamarich. And even in the shame, he didn't even use her name. That was how short he went. Rak b'kel only with, he didn't use Hashem's name, excuse me. He didn't use Hashem. He used Kel. Shmasha Enkim b'Maaseh Egel, which is not the case of the incident of the golden calf. To become a Shemot, Uknoyin, Shayam et Paldim. And because there was many names, full names of Hashem, and nicknames of Hashem that he used when he was praying for the golden calf. He used everything. He used everything in the arsenal. When it came to here, it's Kelnar, please God. Okay, that's it. So it became Meraglim, and also the Meraglim. So it says, Amar Rabbi Yakov kol mevakesh racham al chavero. And it says, Rabbi Yakov said that anyone who requests compassion on his friend, Ein sarach la'azkir shemo, you don't have to mention his name. So, right. So he says, so here was shortened. The Afilu Shema, the Miriam, even the name of Miriam, Lo Hayam Midkar, he didn't mention it. For Hushakadosh Baruch Hu Yireh, the Leva, because Hashem looked into his heart. For Yodea Kavanato, and he looked and he knew his Kavana L'Rape Miriam, to heal Miriam. So that's why he didn't say. That's why he only said La, because he doesn't. Hashem looked into his heart. Who are you talking about? Miriam, fine. So he doesn't say it because it's his friend, so on and so forth. His sister. It was in his heart. But that's the difference of the prayer. One, when I'm praying for the Kehillah because we have some major sin, I need to be marich b'tefillah. I have to lengthen my prayer. That would make sense because it's severity I'm dealing with. When it comes to something minor, an individual, and I'm praying on their behalf, so it's a short prayer. Which is why, interestingly enough, if you look to the prayers of, if you look to the prayers of A person who's sick, in other words, you say Tehillim for somebody who's sick, and then there's a special prayer that you say after that in the Tehillim. And one of the lines, the last lines, after you said the person's name a couple of times, so the last time is, as Moshe said, Keil Na'arafan Allah. And so you're ending off on that sort of things were combined to aspects, but we're using that model of the prayer to say, okay, I can't go so long because it's an individual, and as it were, there's not a major thing I'm getting involved with. Unlike if I'm going to have the community under distress, that's when we go through all these the slichot and the kinot and everything else. It's a never-ending prayer. Okay, we'll have to stop here.